Jessica and me had to go run out because this week's episode, we're going to feature and show you some of the gigantic baskets that we grow for cities up and down the West Coast. And we're going to give you all the secrets and tips and tricks to grow your own giant hanging basket. In less than 2 weeks, this whole greenhouse will be empty, which meant I had to run out here because I wanted to get you guys kind of behind the scenes and show you these giant hanging baskets before they go out the door. And we'll start with one of the motherships of them all. These beautiful baskets, these are going to the city of Albany. And a lot of times when you're growing a giant petunia basket, it comes down to starting with really, really good plants that are going to work well together and just create that massive ball of color. This is really the standard by which all of their baskets are measured by now. This is Supertunia's Vista series. We have Vista Bubblegum, Vista Silverberry with that little pink throat. We have Vista Jazzberry, it's kind of almost a light purple, and Vista Paradise in here. All of these plants grow super well together. Each of these baskets measure about 18 inches across in terms of the top of the basket. And I typically start with about 10 plants. So 10 plants, this is what, second week of May, third week of May now, are already 3, almost 4 feet across. They are going to easily get 6 to 7 feet long. And they're gonna go fantastic all summer long. But here's the deal, with just 10 plants, and a small amount of soil, right, in a hanging basket, these beauties really need a lot of fertilizer and something fairly strong. On the farm right now, we're using a 20-10-20. A lot of times that middle number in those three, you'll see Lowe's and Home Depot selling bloom boosting fertilizers. These plants are really bred and designed to bloom. That's not the most important piece of the formula. In fact, sometimes we'll use a 15-0-15 fertilizer. It's that first number, the nitrogen's really going to give it the really healthy foliage that we need, and that last number is really going to feed the roots. So as long as we're taking care on the front end and the back end, you're gonna end up with just gigantic hanging baskets. At home, let's face it, we're all super busy. I do it every single Sunday. Every Sunday is my day to fertilize. If I'm having a barbecue coming up or have a whole bunch of friends coming over, I may do it 2, maybe even 3 times a week. On the farm here, we're fertilizing 3, maybe 4 times a week. It's really important to, some people say, well, why don't you just do it every day? It's just important to have a day of just clear water running through that's really going, anything that the plants are not using, it allows it to really flush out all the way out the bottom and then come back in and hit them with fertilizer again the next day. So at least a couple days during the week, you want to do just regular water, but fertilizer is a super important key to this. Vistas are an easy way to go large, but I have a lot of new plants, and every year trying to find out how big they're going to go is a mystery. And I want to show you some of the other combos that I've done this year that are brand new for our giant city baskets that have turned out really good. A lot of times when I'm working on combos for really large baskets, I want, especially ones in a city, I want a really big impact with color. If they're too muted, sometimes they just kind of blend into the surroundings, and I want really bright mix, and this is beautiful. Sometimes I'm at a loss of words to describe it, but I love this primary colors. A couple of the plants that I'm using in here. This is Bee's Knees petunia. It is by far the best yellow petunia on the market. Proven Winners has one called Saffron Finch, which is very, very similar, if not the same thing, which we can talk about another time. The red in here is my favorite red petunia. This is Surfinia Deep Red. To me, it is a red. It is not a pinky red. It is not an orangey red. It is a red petunia with just an amazing habit. And when I talk about habit, I'm talking about flower coverage. I want it to kind of form that nice big ball. A lot of plants, we see this a lot when people make custom baskets and stuff. If you're not familiar with how the habit and how it grows, some plants, like we have a beautiful orange petunia that comes up and then will fall open. So it leaves the center, kind of gets this bird's nest kind of look to it. And I don't like that look. It will grow again, and you'll probably never see it from the top. But to me, if I have some plants that are all going to hold each other up and grow nicely, Surfina Deep Red just plays so well with so many different things. And here's a really great tip. This is Violet Sky. There's a whole series of petunias called Sky Petunias. Night Sky was the first one that came out. It really took the market by storm. It was so unique. It almost had that kind of constellation look to the flowers. A lot of people thought it looked like you like speckled bleach on the flowers, but the pattern on it was not very consistent. The habit on it was good, but not great. They've now come out with Violet Sky, and that's the petunia that I love to use in my big mixes. Its habit is a lot cleaner. The color pattern on the flowers is much more consistent, and it's really hard to find a blue flower. Violet Sky is more kind of a purpley blue, but it's just a beautiful mix. And when I'm dealing with large flowers, you can't even really see it in here yet, but you're going to. This is chocolate creeping Jenny. It is one of my secret sauce ingredients to making a really great hanging basket. This chocolate Jenny is going to add some texture. It's going to poke in and out, and it's going to add that really long draping component that I need in a really big hanging basket. A lot of vines and other trailing elements to a basket will get lost. Chocolate creeping Jenny really keeps up. The chocolate color plays well with a lot of different colors, and it's really going to make this combo just explode, add that dynamic look and flow to it, and play nice with everything else that's in here. In this combo, we've got a couple of the elements that we just looked at. This is Surfina Deep Red, favorite petunia for big baskets, Violet Sky again, and I wanted to do a red, white, and blue combo. So I wanted to mix up my flower textures by adding different elements to it. Superbena Whiteout is a rock star verbena for a large hanging basket. Big, beautiful blooms that really stand out, blooms really, really well all summer, and really provides the white that I'm going in here without doing another white petunia. The other component in here, remember how we talked about the chocolate creeping Jenny adding that trailing component? This is Lophos. It used to be called Lophosporum. I don't know if people just didn't want to say Lophosporum, so they just renamed it to Lophos. There is a compact version, and that's, I don't know if it's compact in terms of growth habit, but the flower power is much better in the compact version. It's still going to get super long. It's going to give me that long draping component for my big hanging baskets. The hummingbirds love it. There's Lophos White and Lophos Rose. Both of them are excellent for hanging baskets. And maybe a little bit of a miss in this combo. I like to add some Calibrachoas just for some extra range of color. This is Neo Vampire in here. This is Calibrachoa. It's probably a little too close to color with the Surfina Deep Red. You probably don't notice it as much, but I do like mixing up the flower sizes and kind of staying in that red, white, and blue just to kind of keep it. Maybe a white Calibrachoa would have been a little bit better of a choice. Whenever I'm using new petunias or a new element that I really like for a big hanging basket, there's a couple ways to kind of play it safe. So this is Pink Cashmere. Pink Cashmere came out this last year. I didn't get it. It's brand new for me. I've never really grown it until this year. I saw it in some trials, loved it. I wanted to try it in some of our big hanging baskets. So the question is what do you pair it with? Because other petunias could dominate it. Other petunias may be too far in the back. For example, this is Calibrachoa Vintage Violet. If you've watched some of our other videos, you know I love this plant. But I'm not sure you're even going to see it in this combo. It's just not keeping up enough with the other flowers. So now I know. When looking at what petunia to go with this is in a series of petunias called Surfinias. And this is Surfinia Heavenly Blue. They're actually coming out with an improved version of this for next year, which I'm trialing right now. But by staying within a series of petunias, I know that their growth habit is typically going to be very similar, so that I know they're going to play nicely together. So if you're working with a new plant and you're not exactly sure what the growth habit is going to be, a safe bet is to pick from another color within that same series. People can oftentimes get that really confused. People come and ask me all the time for wave petunias. Well, wave is a particular series of petunias. Supertunias, another particular series, and even within Supertunias, you have Supertunia Vista, which is their big one. You have just regular Supertunias. You have Supertunia Mini Vistas, which really refers to the size of the flower. So that's where you really need some help in the garden center. Come on out to Bauman Farms. We will kind of point you in that direction. And if you're looking online, trying to stay within those series will help you kind of give you a direction on which plants to pair with which in your hanging baskets. To me, this is like one of the most ultimate beautiful balls of color. Look how tight and full this is. And it has a lot of really great elements going for it to me that make a fantastic hanging basket. This is Petunia T. Flamingo. Awesome plant. The habit, the color, beautiful flowers. And there's a couple things, to me, this was kind of my driving component to this. I wanted to do a basket with it. And if you'll look really close into the center of the flower, you'll see that it has a little chocolate touch to the center. So that's where I'm bringing back in my chocolate creeping Jenny. Pairs really nicely with the center throat of that flower. I'm also bringing in my vintage violet calabricoa in this one. And you'll notice in this one, see how the calabricoa is coming out a little better with these varieties than with the other ones. And finally, last but not least, this is Supertunia Mini Vista Indigo. The growth habit on this just paired so well to create that beautiful, nice habit of color. A lot of times I like to add an element that's kind of help fill in the center and mound out. And as Jessica and me were walking by, Jessica was just literally stopped in her tracks and had to look at this. Come on in. This is an osteospermum. This particular one is called Osteocade Twilight. And you can look at how similar the color is. It really blends really nicely. But you'll notice on this particular osteo, when it first comes out, it's almost a bright yellow. It's going to kind of age and start adding some purple and finally finish really close to that T. Flamingo. It's one of the things that I really like about that osteo is I'm going to get a lot of different colors all in one plant. And this particular hanging basket is just beautiful, right? So again, I have about 10 plants in here. I have put 3 of the Petunia T. Flamingo. I've put in 3 of the indigo. I've put 3 of the calabricoa. I put 1 of the osteo on the top, and then I put 1 of the creeping Jenny in here as well. You could do 2 easily. I think that's 11. So a few more than 10. But really, when you're looking at the size of this, so another thing, a lot of people ask me about this. The baskets that we're using, come on in here. We're going to take an undersized look here. You'll notice all of the plants are in the top of the basket. A lot of times you'll see plants planted in the side because they want to create that big, beautiful color. You can tell by this, I'm getting that big ball look without putting plants along the sides. I don't like putting plants along the side of the basket because now your basket is full of holes. Getting enough water in here is super important. And putting holes all the way around your basket is only going to decrease the amount of water that it holds. In addition, I mean, I've packed 10 to 12 plants in the top of this. If I'm going to put plants along the side, now I'm up to 20, 25 plants. You don't need that many plants if you use the right plants. They're going to trail over the side and get it nice and full. Water this every single day. How much water do? You water until it starts coming out the bottom. Because again, I want to flush everything through, and it's going to need watered every single day. When you're dealing with big city baskets, there's enough soil volume that generally you don't have to water it more than once a day. I always try and water early in the morning. If you water late at night, especially on days like today that are overcast and a little cooler, the plant stays wet all night long, and that's where you can get into some fungus and other problems. In the Northwest, the biggest culprit that just drives me absolutely bonkers is those little caterpillars that come through and they'll eat all the buds off your basket. Typically in the Northwest, you're gonna start seeing them around the 4th of July weekend, and that's when I tell people to use Captain Jack's. Captain Jack's is an all-natural, completely organic bacteria that you're spraying on the plant, and as the bugs eat the bacteria, it kills them, which they deserved. And it's just an easy thing to use. But I use mine once every other week and then go to once a week. I just mist it down or spray it down just to kind of stay ahead of it. Once you have a whole bunch of them, it's a little harder to keep up with. But those butterflies are going all the time. If you spray once, you may kill the ones that are there, but there's new eggs hatching. The butterflies are still flying around and laying their eggs on their baskets. It's still going to cause problems later on. So Captain Jack, starting around the 4th of July, is really one of the keys to success. Watering every single day, fertilizing at least once, a couple times a week, and then picking the right plants. They're going to give you the right size that are all going to play together is going to create the perfect recipe for you to have an amazing hanging basket.